With the India-Pakistan situation not improving at any point in the last 24 hours, I just kind of want to go through some of the things that are actually happening on the ground. And it may take a minute or two. That's why we're going to be like this. Nuclear rivals on collision course. India responds with full spectrum force as Pakistan tests missiles. Now, this goes into a missile test that Pakistan was conducting. But this article goes into a little bit more of the tactical situation. And we're going to do that right now. As Pakistan initiates live fire exercise of its southwest coast, satellite intelligence confirms the redeployment of India's flagship aircraft carrier INS Vikrant into the Arabian Sea, its closest positioning yet to Pakistani waters since commissioning. The satellite images confirm that the INS Vikrant has departed port and is currently active in waters off the coast, analysts report, suggesting a deliberate signal of force projection by the Indian Navy. The movement of Vikrant, India's first indigenously built carrier capable of deploying up to 30 aircraft, MiG-29K multi-role fighters, and advanced naval helicopters, represents a calculated strategic countermove intended to dominate the Western maritime domain. This is the image of, I believe this is a Pakistani missile being launched. In tandem with maritime repositioning, India has ramped up its operational tempo and its unmanned aerial systems, deploying Israeli-built Heron UAVs across Jammu and Kashmir for real-time ISR and coverage in immediate aftermath of the incident. Simultaneously, frontline Indian Air Force squadrons, including those operating Dassault Rafale and Su-30K MKI fighters, have stepped up patrol sorties along western border, ensuring air dominance and providing visible reminder of India's air readiness. India's ground forces, too, have launched intensified border patrols and search and destroy operations backed by HAL utility helicopters across Srinagar and surrounding sectors to prevent further militant infiltration and restore control over volatile regions. So they've stepped up all their patrols. And as we're going to find out, so have the Pakistanis. Meanwhile, across the border, Pakistan has elevated its own military alert to maximum, and its Air Force placing airborne surveillance units, including AWACS platforms, on combat patrol near the Indian frontier to monitor regional airspace activity. At the same time, ground forces initiated mobility drills and field deployments along Pakistan's western frontier, a move aimed at sustaining high readiness while preparing for escalation across conventional spectrum. Although no direct military engagement has been initiated, Pakistan's National Security Committee, chaired by Prime Minister Sharaf, issued a stark warning declaring that the nation is prepared to respond with full force across the complete spectrum of national power. What do they mean by the full spectrum? Well, again, we're talking about two nuclear-armed nations who have been arming themselves with Russian, Chinese, and American weapon systems for years now. For years. Among its first actions, India suspended the 1960 Indus Water Treaty, a World Bank brokered agreement that governs water sharing from the Indus River system, citing the untenability of bilateral cooperation in the face of state-tolerated terrorism. It goes on to mention that India has sealed the one border crossing with Pakistan. Further tightening its diplomatic screws, New Delhi revoked all visas issued to Pakistani nationals, including those under SAARC visa exemption scheme. The tit-for-tat move reflective of Cold War diplomatic brinkmanship. India expelled Pakistan's defense attaché. As the crisis deepened, Modi abruptly curtailed his official visit to Saudi Arabia and returned to overseas national security deliberations, signaling the seriousness for which Indian state views this threat. One of the things the Pakistanis have been doing has been arming themselves with really up-to-date fighter aircraft. One of those has been the JF-17. And we're going to get into this story here in a bit, but the JF-17 is now armed with PL-15 Chinese missiles. And when we get into that story, you'll see why it's relevant. This is the headline page of Defense Security Asia. That Indian aircraft carrier group that was out to sea has also been doing live-fire missile tests. Indian Navy flexes muscle in Arabian Sea. INS Surat's MR SAM test underscores maritime supremacy. So they were testing surface-to-air missiles. Live fire. Clearly a warning. But we're going to get into this story here about the JF-17 being armed with this Chinese missile. Reports emerging from regional defense sources confirm that China has expedited deliveries of the potent PL-15 missile to Pakistan, a move strategically timed to enable Islamabad to counter India's formidable fleet of advanced combat jets, notably the Rafale and the Su-30. The reason this is relevant, the images disseminated through Stratcom Bureau of social media platform X also prominently featured JF-17 fighters armed with China's sophisticated short-range PL-10 air-to-air missiles, underscoring a substantial leap in Pakistan's aerial combat capabilities. Reports emerging from regional defense sources confirm that China has expedited deliveries of the potent PL-15 missile to Pakistan, a move strategically aimed to enable Islamabad to counter India's formidable advanced air combat jets, notably Rafale and Su-30. What's the big deal about PL-15? PL-15, capable of reaching speeds approaching Mach 4, integrates an advanced electronically scanned radar system opposed specifically for beyond visual range combat engagements, thus significantly expanding Pakistan's aerial deterrent capabilities. Crafted meticulously in China's prestigious Academy of Launch Vehicle Technology, the PL-15 is recognized globally as one of the most advanced beyond visual range missiles currently in service, drawing direct comparisons to the renowned AIM-120D AMRAAM and Europe's Meteor missile, the Meteor considered to be one of the best air-to-air missiles in the world. With an operational reach surpassing 300 kilometers, PL-15 missiles provide Pakistan with one of the longest air-to-air strike capabilities worldwide, critically enhancing its strategic air capabilities. This is the JF-17, pictured with PL-15 long-range missiles. Why am I citing just a specific missile on a specific plane? Well, because of this. Closely following the situation, China backs Pakistan, advocates impartial probe into Pahalgam terror attack. And we go down here. I want you to pay attention to the words here. China has expressed its support for Pakistan, its all-weather strategic cooperative partner, and advocated for an impartial probe into the Pahalgam terror attack that killed 25 Indian and one Nepalese citizen on April 22nd. We're going to go right into the exact words, because words have meaning. China is closely following the evolving situation of the tensions between Pakistan and India following the terrorist attack in the Kashmir region, supporting the prompt initiation of an impartial investigation, hoping both sides will exercise restraint, move toward each other, and work to de-escalate tensions, Global Times cited Wang Yi saying. As an ironclad friend and all-weather strategic cooperative partner, China fully understands Pakistan's legitimate security concerns and supports its efforts to uphold sovereignty and security, Yi added. So China clearly, in public, militarily, and morally, we'll call it, has Pakistan's back. What's the United States' response? U.S. calls for reasonable solution amid Pakistan tensions. The United States on Sunday urged both India and Pakistan to work towards what it terms a reasonable solution as tensions escalate between the neighboring countries following the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack. This is an evolving situation. We are monitoring developments closely. We've been in touch with both Pakistan and India at multiple levels, a U.S. State Department spokesman told Reuters in an emailed statement. The spokesman added, "The United States encourages all parties to work together towards a reasonable solution while also emphasizing that Washington stands with India and strongly condemns the terrorist attack in Pahalgam." These statements echo recently made statements by President Trump and Vice President Vance. I think it's incumbent upon the president to do more than just have a statement, and so far this has been his only public statement.
Any message for them? Are you going to be talking to them?
I'm very close to India and I'm very close to Pakistan, as you know. And they've had that fight for 1,000 years in Kashmir. Kashmir's been going on for 1,000 years, probably longer than that. And it was a bad one yesterday, though. That was a bad one. Over 30 people.
Are you concerned that there's now tensions on the border between them? Are you concerned that how are you continue about
Well,
that?
there have been tensions on that border for 1,500 years. So, same as it's been. But they'll get it figured out one way or the other. I'm sure that I know both leaders. There's great tension between Pakistan and India, but there always has been.
And that was the president's statement. Just a very general statement of history, essentially. Just kind of spelling out the facts as they are. I think the United States should make a little bit more strong of a statement. Something along the lines of what the reassurance Pakistan got. And something like the expedited shipment of missiles that China's sending to Pakistan. Something to reassure them that we have their back. If he's such a good friend with Modi, then it would behoove him to do something along those lines. China and India, although tensions have lowered, they do have a history of fighting one another. This is the Wikipedia entry for the 2020-2021 China-India skirmishes that ended up killing scores of people. 20 Indians killed on 15 June 2020. 15 June 2020, 4 killed per China, per India. 15 June 2020. These are independent sources, Chinese, Indian sources. 25 to 40 killed. Independent sources, 35 to 45 killed. This is relevant because these guys were beating the hell out of each other with clubs. With clubs. They weren't shooting at each other. They were up there with clubs. Sticks, bricks, clubs, and shovels. And literally beating each other to death. This is the file map of the area. These 3 rings are where those took place. This is also the same region where this attack just took place. So as you can see, this is a hotly contested area. This is an area that China claims, Pakistan has claimed, and India claims. So this isn't over yet. This isn't over yet, and I think we're just seeing the start of it. We've had shots across the border, from border post to border post. We've had a pickup in air patrols, restationing of fighter wings, the launching of an aircraft carrier battle group. I'm sure the Pakistanis have responded with their submarines. The situation is very, very tense. When it comes to these missiles, I just want to point out, and I'm going to do this on a map just to kind of make this a little bit easier. These PL-15 missiles represent a clear threat. This is a 300-kilometer bar going from Pakistani airspace into Indian airspace. You can pretty much reach New Delhi from Pakistani airspace with these air-to-air missiles. This is a clear threat. Rafale is a fine fighter. Meteor is a great missile. This is something you have to take just as seriously, because this same capability is on the Indian side, and Pakistan has been dealing with it now for probably well over a decade, if not more. So the situation continues to be incredibly tense. We've had border skirmishes, increase in military activity. Diplomatic activity seems to finally be picking up. I call on the President of the United States to take a more active and personal role in this. This could make Ukraine look like a cakewalk. Again, these are confirmed nuclear-armed powers. That if things go bad, use it or lose it becomes a real possibility. And then we're not talking about deaths in tens of hundreds or thousands. We're talking deaths in the millions. And radioactive contamination that kills millions and millions more. It's my hope that the President will step up diplomacy, come in as an honest mediator between the two. Yes, we support every country who's been attacked by terrorism. And if there's links in Pakistan, it's our hope that there's a peaceful resolution to it, and that Pakistan will be willing to turn over those who committed this heinous act. If not, cross that bridge when you cross it, and hopefully peace will prevail. If not, it's going to get real bad real quick. We've already had the canceling of the Indus Treaty, the SEMA agreement. So they've already said that it no longer obligated to work things out between each other peacefully. That was what that SEMA agreement was. The Indus Treaty, India could cut off water supplies to thousands of Pakistani farmers, throwing the country into almost instant food emergency, if not starvation. Or India just had a large release of water. Instead of turning them into a desert, you could flood them out with just releasing millions and millions of liters of water. Opening up the floodgates, the sluice gates, anything. For years, people in the UN and other think tanks had talked about water wars. So this could move from a response involving a heinous criminal act into a water war or something worse, depending on the situation. Make love, not war, baby. Peace through strength. Be strong. And only if you have to should you ever consider using it. These guys have been building up for this for years. There might be more of a want to on one side or the other to just duke it out than there is to actually work it out. If that's the case, it's going to get really hairy real quick. I want to thank you. That's what I got. If you like the video, hit the like, subscribe, share with a friend. Let them know. 2 nuclear powers are on a collision course. And if things don't change, it could get real ugly. And we need to have some diplomatic action from the President of the United States, United States State Department, where this is going to get real ugly real fast. And we can't cede our world leadership to China. We need to be at the forefront. That's what I got. Thank you.